tasting a bit off as of late. Koldorf, where did you pick the contents of this drink after scavenging today?
Well, Master, it was right nearby the lovely bushes from south of the manor, as you typically have.
Strange. Must be this time of year where everything is much too cold for satiable consumption. Suppose checking nearby the garden tomorrow could suffice much better. Actually, now that I remind myself, be sure the greenhouse doors are sealed tight before this chill affects the crop.
But of course, Master, I shall return momentarily.
Apart from the weather, it is quite a pleasant-looking twilight. The autumn really does make a difference in such a dense forest. But time and time again, do I pray that living in a home like this could at least welcome some fresh company. I mean, I know that I'm not that uncanny to Solace, but at the same time, I do wish I could share beautiful nights like this with a new face. It would be short-lived, sure, but it would still be worth all the while. But, once again, another autumn has left me to suffer by my lonesome. Can't say that Koldorf doesn't count, but he's been here as long as I can remember. Oh well, here's to a beautiful, glimmering hour at the very least.
Master, a human unconscious outside the front gate.
A what? Here?
It's been a while, I know. Should I take them to the...
No. I mean, now's not the time. Quickly, take me to them.
Follow my lead, Master. Right here, Master. They feel but cold to the touch.
All right. Stand aside as I lift them. Be sure the door is open for me. Here we are.
Do forgive my ignorance, Master, but why bring this human indoors? Why the sudden change of plans?
I, figure you usually do most of the fetching around here. I certainly don't mind taking over just this once.
Well, that's undoubtedly fair, Master. So, what shall you do now?
I'll take care of the rest, Koldorf. I thank you for your attentiveness and assistance. You may be relieved for the night.
But of course, Master. Have a good night, Master.
Well, I'll be damned once more. This is quite unorthodox, to say the least. Where did you come from? It couldn't be the village. Not in 1,000 years it could. Suppose I should seat you by the fire here. Ah, you're awake. You provided quite the scare for yourself, let me tell you. Oh, no. I wasn't worried in the slightest. I've scarcely been frightened in my lifetime. Are you comfortable? Is the fire hot enough? Are you hurt or wounded in any way? Ah, you just fainted from being out of breath? Well, luckily we managed to bring you in sooner than later, for if not the cold of the night, then the wolves would have taken you instead. Oh, but please, There's no need for thanks, really. I was just making sure a wandering passerby such as yourself was not laying in the cold. Surely you were not planning on just napping out there on your lonesome. No, but of course, you must have had quite the reason to be out here. Where are you? Why, in my humble manor, of course. Well, just the foyer, if anything. My apologies. Where exactly are you? Just a few miles out from Birchwood Village, being at the lowest area of the region, if I'm correct. Speaking of such, where did you come from, exactly? Why here of all places? Aren't you familiar with these woods? Huh. You're from a western mountain village. That's quite the ways away. I'm honestly surprised, if not impressed, to think someone as brave as yourself could travel so far down without proper clothing. Is that so? Well, isn't that a close shave? You say your village was being swarmed by, what's that now? Gigantic condors? Ugh, I never liked those flying vermin. Really? A pack chased you out of your village for several days now? Tearing off your coat, destroying your supplies, and having you lose sight of civilization? For as long as I live, never have I heard of a situation as frustrating as such. If my knowledge is correct, those creatures normally reach as far as this point of the region. They must have given in at some point, just as you nearly did. You must have sprinted till your lungs gave out, Oh, but please, do forgive my questioning of your harrowing efforts without me even properly introducing myself. I am Vladimir, to most, but please, just call me Vlad. And what may I call you, if I may inquire? Ah, a wonderful name, yes. Sounds vaguely familiar to some of my cousins' names. It reminds me of a time when they were here, roaming the halls of my home, calling out to each other, content of their company. We would roam the forests this side of the region, read upon our family history, and feast great feasts every night. Oh, my goodness gracious, what am I thinking? Look at me, prattling on about my life when you must be as starved as a parrot eating crackers. If you'll be so kind as to sit tight, I'll dish up a little something for you in the kitchen, just past the dining hall here. Oh, no, I absolutely insist. You're a welcomed guest here, and you shall be treated like such. With that said, do you have any preferences on what you'd like to eat, perhaps? I collect a lot of inventory with my assistant from around the manor, so you may have anything your heart desires. Just say them. You'll practically have anything. Fair enough, then. One severed foot coming right up. I'm terrible with jokes. I do apologize. Well, unless that is something you desperately like to try, I can easily get something a little more humane in this case. Right then. I'll have a little something me and my assistant prepped not too long ago. It'll be just one moment. And here we are. A generous cut of smoked ham, sided with a baked potato and freshly diced salad, topped with a light vinaigrette, of course. You may indulge yourself once you feel ready to do so. Oh, the dish itself was certainly not my idea, but I definitely helped contribute to the final results, as you can see. I myself am not a huge fan of this kind of meal, but for my currently resting assistant, Koldorf, it's quite the treat. The food itself was made for him, but I'm the one that assists him in creating it. I learn how to make something, and he gets to eat hearty. It's a win-win situation, more or less. Ha! Well, I'm glad that you like it. I haven't really gotten any praise for anything I cook aside from Koldorf. It's very refreshing to hear that from you, truly. Oh, me? Oh, I appreciate the concern, but I'm quite satiated, thank you. Again, casual meals like such are certainly not my forte. I am quite picky, truth be told. As old-fashioned as it may sound, I'm more into particular meals prepared raw. Well, by that I mean nothing too spiffy, nothing decorated in spices, glazes, etc. I'm just a simple man that eats a basic meal and drinks a basic beverage. This wine here, for example, is specifically made for myself from anything we find around the manor. There's particular ingredients to it, but I think it's only a taste for myself. But you know how it is. Well, might not necessarily, but just like to point that out for myself. Me having things quite basic, it must make me sound quite boring, now that I think about it. Remind me to never cook something as basic as lightly cooked chicken with raw peas for a dinner party. Well, yes, I am aware that I could cook much better than that, but for myself, it's dungeon quality foods that I live by. But lest I forget, here you are, fresh water straight from the well outside. If you'd like anything else, please do let me know. Well, the pleasure's all mine, really. I'm just glad that you survived the unforgiving chills out there, and I actually have someone new to conversate with. It's easily another win-win, wouldn't you agree? Do I have others living here? Well, as large as this home of mine is, it may come as a shock to you to know that I haven't had a lot of others living here in quite some time. Forgive me, but I wouldn't mind recollecting if you would allow me. You'd like to hear my story? You say that now, but... Well, if you're positive, then I shall continue. It was, let's just say, quite a long time ago. I had traveled with my family to this region in search of a sustainable home. We'd once lived in old caverns and rocks in the earth, for we had traditionally lived in the wild. Our kind of people were living in an atypical fashion, and based on our standards, many people didn't accept us in their towns, villages, or cities. Times were very difficult. We had to hunt animals constantly and feed off what we could gather. Though, during our travels, had we found this lowly, strange man that had been through hardships himself through acceptance and booted from his own society. Why, yes, it certainly was Koldorf. You sure you haven't heard my tale once before? You haven't? Well, suppose I commend such a shot in the dark. In any case, we decided to take him in, and the lot of us continued onwards. As we traveled into these very woods, we found the manor of which we resided now. We only approached it to ask for some shelter, but soon enough found out that the home was abandoned, door wide open for anyone to enter. Not a single living soul lived there and had vacated the premises. We slowly had turned from taking shelter here to making it feel right at home. Though over time our need to eat a proper meal had quickly risen up again. We traveled to eventually find Birchwood Village. We couldn't risk putting ourselves out there to those people, hardly understanding us one bit, so when the night sky rose over them, we would individually take the necessities needed for us to keep us satiated, striving, and happy in the abandoned manor. We adjusted to life around the manor, and it had bonded us closer as a family, at least for the time being. One of my brothers had heard there was a massive gathering of people and food traveling together to the outskirts of town, closer to the ocean shores. Myself and Coldorf stood guard here as the rest of my family took the opportunity of a lifetime and left the manor to reap their benefits. They left, but took much longer than I'd hoped. All night I waited for them to return, but to no avail. It was early that next morning that I saw my brother outside, his body dragging over the grass, bleeding out. He had said that the villagers were anticipating them to show up and had set them up and attacked my family. They had killed everyone that I knew. My brother had only died moments later. I knew from then on that going back to that village would only end up in my absolute demise, and I didn't have the strength to leave this manor, knowing all the memories I had made with my family resided here. It meant too much to me. I could never leave it. So, since then, myself and Coldorf had lived here, sustained what we can from animals and vegetation, and provide for one another. That's how it has been, and nothing has essentially changed, quite frankly. Curse that record player. It can only last so long before it just wears out. Your concern is deeply appreciated. I've yet to speak to a single soul about it for years, so it means a lot that you'd listen to my mournful ramblings. What seems to be the Please, do not worry about me, really. I appreciate this sentimental embrace you're currently giving me, but it is unnecessary, I am certain. Well, I will admit that it did make me feel a bit better, but again, I've been in Solace for years. I am quite accustomed to limited hugging, or lack thereof. Gracious, was that me? My stomach certainly seems to be going against me, even after I've had my fill of nourishment for the time being. Trust me, I am absolutely stuffed, no doubt about it. Must have been something Coldorf slipped into my meal just to see if I would notice. Say, the night is still young. Would you like to take a walk towards my greenhouse? I have some beautiful greenery that I'd like to share with you. Hardly do I have a chance to express my passion for the flowers that are held dear to me. Ah, excellent. You may leave your dishware right where it is. I'll take care of it once we're back inside. But of course. Here, take this old coat of mine. I only used to wear this thing to keep appearances around my family, but now it's yours. No, it's no problem at all. We have many articles of clothing in our wardrobe, so giving away just one wouldn't hurt, unless it's too big and crushes you in a bloody heap. Well, you seem to be holding up so far. Let's see you make it to the greenhouse. Follow me now. Beautiful night, isn't it? This time of day is in its prime when autumn gracefully falls over it. Similar to a winter's snowfall somewhat. The chill is nearly identical, but never overdone. You enjoy this season as well? Finally, someone with refined seasonal taste. A person can be respectfully opinionated to their own time of year, but to those who love the fall have the only correct opinion there is. Ah, and here we are. Fragrant, isn't it? I tend to have a keen nose for what me and Koldorf grow in here, and it really shows. Why, thank you. It's become quite the hobby of mine, so my efforts in keeping these flowers and crops looking fair is to be expected. From sunflowers, azaleas, and, even these chrysanthemums. They tend to grow quite frequently. Here, smell these verbenias. They were grown a season prior. Yes, they are quite lovely. They bring me great relief and relaxation wherever the going gets rough for myself. Which is why I'm nearly here every single day. But, of course, I've been doing just fine. But of course. Again, my home is your home. It's no trouble at all. You've been oh so respectful to me, and I personally should be thanking you. You've really glinted a light on me that I've never felt in quite a long time. Your company's just what I'd needed. Oh, I see. Well, you certainly do need to find a way back home, then. I understand that you can't stay forever, but at the very least, you may invoke the comfort of my abode for the night, just until dawn breaks. I do tend to sleep in throughout a portion of the day, so feel free to take anything you need for your travel back. An old armory is in the room next to the foyer, and you may help yourself to anything in the kitchen. You need to be thoroughly prepared for those condors, that I'm sure of. You've been a treat, really. It's no skin off of my bones. I'm just glad for us to have met to begin with. I can live with that notion in mind. Say, before we head back indoors, could you hand me the shovel over there by the wall? I was going to pick these flowers out and have them displayed in the dining hall. Don't these look just delightful? I'll be ready to have you... Wait, you should not have opened that. You're probably wondering what that contraption is there? Yes, it is blood in there, but please, let me explain. Me and Koldorf built it to keep preserved animal blood warm and at a moderate temperature. Why? well, I, I shan't lie to you any further at this rate. I am a vampire. No, but please understand. I just couldn't say anything to you. After your company here, I mean no harm at all. The villagers before, yes, our family did take and drain them, but we had no choice. It's who we are, and animal blood only gives us partial nourishment. My stomach earlier, it only made that noise on instinct. I haven't been wanting to kill you at all. I haven't even had the power to drain straight from a human's neck in years. I would never. No, put that shovel down. I never wanted to trap you. I never meant to coax you into death. You were different from any human I've met. Please, don't. Stay back. Don't do this. I don't want to. Please, stop! Oh, no. What have I done? You shouldn't have gotten any closer. You didn't listen to me. You didn't. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. For the time that you never knew who I was, you gave me the company that I'd always hoped for. You listened. You were sentimental. You cured my loneliness. But even if things ended like this, you've shown me that there's still hope out there, that there is a place for everyone, and maybe this place is not for me. Not anymore. This manor, these memories, should stay here and only here. I must move on, to find a home in which to call my own and not be tainted with a painful past. Your death will not be in vain. I shall not take your blood like many others before you. You will be returned home. I will take the blame for what has transpired here, but hope that those in your village will understand in some degree to what we had for the time that it lasted. There you are. Things have become more bittersweet than I'd hoped. But in the end, I'm glad you were the company I had always longed for. Thank you for sharing this autumn night with me. Friend. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This was my first attempt at a story told through ASMR, and I hope you were entertained by what you just heard. I want to thank my inspirations, including Vividly, Lemon Leaf, Bethy VA, Fearless Lynn, and other members of several Discord servers for getting me into the wild world of ASMR to begin with. Wouldn't have built my confidence without all of your hard work. Links to their pages will be in the description. I suggest everybody check these people out and find some ASMR people that you can get into as well, if you prefer. With that said, I do hope you all have either a bright day or a cozy night. Take care, friends.